Okay, good morning.
Good morning.
Today we get to hear from Jerry Kennell.
Yes.
That's how I feel too. And I am going to open today with a song that Jerry requested I play, of course. But this song I wrote. And it is called This Machine. But before I play and sing that, I'm going to read a passage delivered at the World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland by Greta Thunberg. And the quote is, "Adults keep saying, we owe it to the young people to give them hope. But I don't want your hope. I don't want you to be hopeful. I want you to panic. I want you to feel the fear I feel every day, and then I want you to act. I want you to act as you would in a crisis. I want you to act as if the house is on fire, because it is." And this song is called This Machine, and it is a protest song. Why is it you praise the leech upon your back, the parasitic worm that draws more than your money into its tax? Can't you see it's not as if your tainted humors it will clean? This funny business will suck you dry between the teeth of this machine. So if somehow you still believe in the myths, the tales we once claimed to hold so sacred, oh, come let your hearts be naked. What about this grand facade inspires in you such deadly pride? It leaves no room for a discourse and makes the children run and hide. Can't you see it's not as if your motivations are holy or clean? This funny business will gun you down in the sights of this machine. So if somehow you still believe in the myths, the tales we once claimed to hold so sacred, oh, come let your hearts be naked. You know that these continued crimes will make no absolution balm. It's time to lay your weapons down and speak with earnestness and calm. Can't you see it's not as if it wasn't you dug this deep ravine? This funny business will bury you neath the wheels of this machine. So if somehow you still believe in the myths, the tales we once claimed to hold so sacred, oh, come let your hearts be naked.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, everyone. Welcome to Taos United Community Church. You are so welcome here, no matter what you believe or what you don't believe or what you'll never believe, what you'd like to believe, maybe someday. This house of prayer belongs to you, and we're glad you're here. And we invite you to stay afterwards for a couple of minutes and have some treats. We have some treats and some coffee or tea, so we could get to know you better if this is your first time here, or, well, if it's not your first time here, you probably want the treats, but. Okay, so I have more than one announcement, but one announcement I have is a women's retreat that's going to be happening at Casa del Sol that Anita is co-leading in October, and there are a couple more flyers back there for you. October 5th through 11th at Ghost Ranch, and it's called A Feast of Joy in Uncertain Times. Yeah, so let you know about that. Today, after church, and after we have a few, maybe 15 minutes or so of fellowship, we're going to come back here and do an annual meeting, our annual meeting for Taos United Community Church, and anyone who considers themselves a part of this church in any way is welcome. So we hope to have you here. It won't be long. We're hungry too. And what else? Is there any other? Yes, Helen, thank you. Okay.
It is a thank you card from Dreamtree. It says, thank you for helping us feed those in need. Thank you for your donation of $1,500 on June 30th, 2025 in support of Dreamtree Project for Nest Meals. Your gift is directly helping us provide nourishing meals to adults experiencing homelessness, helping us provide, and it means the world to us and to those we serve. Because of your support, we've been able to offer not just food, but dignity, compassion, and a sense of belonging to individuals going through some of the hardest times in their lives. Your kindness brings warmth to our shelter and hope to our community. We're deeply grateful to have you as part of the Dreamtree family. Together, we're feeding more than just whatever, but nourishing the souls, restoring spirits, and rebuilding lives. With heartfelt thanks, the Munozes, and she's an administrative assistant there. Mm-hmm. Thank you, folks.
Wow. That's a wonderful thank you note. Okay, and I think that's it. So I'm going to ask us all to sit back and be comfortable, get a comfortable seat, close your eyes if you wish, take a few deep breaths, and we're going to get centered so that we can really be here today. As you breathe in, I invite you to think love. When you breathe out, think belonging. I'm going to read a prayer in a book of poems and prayers by Julia Esquivel, who was a Guatemalan in exile during a time of armed conflict in Guatemala, and her life was threatened because she dared to confront authorities on the atrocities being done to the indigenous. And these are poems and prayers that she wrote while she was in exile. Lead us not into temptation, and teach us to forgive as you have forgiven us. Have mercy on the anti-humans, on those who, like Cain, hate their brother, because they suspect that before you there are no favorites, and they are afraid. They would like to make their neighbor into a servant. His free man's gaze terrifies them, impels them to annihilate him. Have mercy on those who, like the rich, fill up their bellies with choice meats and delicious wines, while in their fields their hired men, like Lazarus, hunger for the food given to dogs. Peasant laborers who eat once a day to fool their stomachs during 4 or 5 months of the year, and produce children only for death. Yes, Father of mercy, profoundly human God, you who know the depths of our suffering, give a merciful heart to just one of the generals of my country, and perhaps one day this being, now turned human, will dip his finger in water to dampen the voracious fire that will consume all the powerful of the earth. Give to us, your children, your own merciful heart, because forgiveness, my Lord, means loving in such a way that we oblige the sons of Cain to be in truth your children. Lord, make us truly your children. And it is our practice here to celebrate the prayers that we bring in our hearts every Sunday. And we do that by lighting candles and singing. So please come up, take a candle, bring your prayer, your intention, whatever's on your heart, and give light to it so we can share it. And while we do that, we're going to sing song number 5 in our books called Eyes on the Prize. So stand if you'd like.
Silas, bound in jail, had no money for to go there, Bill. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Paul and Silas thought they was lost, dungeon shook and the chains come off. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. mighty sweet, and soon we're gonna meet. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. I got my hand on the gospel plow, won't take nothing for my journey now. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Hold on, hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Only chain that man can stand is that chain of hand on hand. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. I'm gonna board that big greyhound, carry the love from town to town. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Hold on, hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Now the only thing I did was wrong, stayed in the wilderness too long. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. The only thing we did was right, was the day we started to fight. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Hold on, hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Hold on, hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Freedom's name. Freedom's name is mighty sweet, and soon we're gonna meet. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Got my hand on the gospel plow, won't take nothing for my journey now. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Hold on, hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Hold on, hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Hold on, hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on. Hold on, hold on. Keep your eyes on the prize, hold on.
Good morning, friends and neighbors. Now, let us hear from 2 Kings chapter 5, verses 1 through 14 from the Common English Bible. Naaman, a general of the king of Aram, was a great man and highly regarded by his master, because through him the Lord had given victory to Aram. This man was a mighty warrior, but he had a skin disease. Now, Aramean raiding parties had gone out and captured a young girl from the land of Israel, and she served Naaman's wife. She said to her mistress, "I wish that my master could come before the prophet who lives in Samaria. He would cure him of his skin disease." So Naaman went and told his master what the young girl from the land of Israel had said. Then Aram's king said, "Go ahead, I'll send a letter to Israel's king." So Naaman left, and he took along 10 kikars of silver, about 660 pounds, 6,000 shekels of gold, about 150 pounds, and 10 changes of clothing. He brought the letter to Israel's king, and it read, "Along with this letter, I'm sending you my servant Naaman, so you can cure him of his skin disease." When the king of Israel read the letter, he ripped his clothes. He said, "What? Am I God to hand out death and life? But this king writes me asking me to cure someone of his skin disease? You must realize that he wants to start a fight with me." When Elisha, the man of God, heard that Israel's king had ripped his clothes, he sent word to the king, "Why did you rip your clothes? Let the man come to me. Then he'll know that there's a prophet in Israel." Naaman arrived with his horses and chariots and presumably his changes of clothes. He stopped at the door of Elisha's house. Elisha sent out a messenger who said, "Go and wash 7 times in the Jordan River. Then your skin will be restored and come clean." But Naaman went away in anger. He said, "I thought for sure he'd come out, stand and call on the name of the Lord his God, wave his hand over the bad spot and cure the skin disease. Aren't the rivers in Damascus, the Abana, and the Pharpar better than all Israel's water? Couldn't I wash in them and get clean?" So he turned away and proceeded to leave in anger. Naaman's servants came up to him and spoke to him, "Our father, if the prophet had told you to do something difficult, wouldn't you have done it? All he said to you was, 'Wash and become clean.'" So Naaman went down and bathed in the Jordan 7 times, just as the man of God has said. His skin was restored like that of a young boy, and he became clean.
Good morning. Lou's a tough act to follow. This is Luke 10, verses 1 to 9, also from the Common English Bible. After these things, the Lord commissioned 72 others and sent them on ahead in pairs to every city and place he was about to go. He said to them, "The harvest is bigger than you can imagine, but there are few workers. Therefore, plead with the Lord of the harvest to send out workers for his harvest. Go, be warned, though, that I'm sending you out as lambs among wolves. Carry no wallet, no bag, and no sandals. Don't even greet anyone along the way. Whenever you enter a house, first say, 'May peace be on this house.' If anyone there shares God's peace, then your peace will rest on that person. If not, your blessing will return to you. Remain in this house, eating and drinking whatever they set before you, for workers deserve their pay. Don't move from house to house. Whenever you enter a city and its people welcome you, eat what they set before you. Heal the sick who are there and say to them, 'God's kingdom has come upon you.'"
The story of Naaman, written around 2,500 years ago, seems a lot like things that are happening around us today. An Aramean general of great power has a little skin disorder. Nowhere does it ever say he has leprosy. As a gift, he has given his wife a servant girl he captured in one of his cross-border raids into the neighboring country of Israel. The girl, at the very bottom of the social heap, compassionately suggests to her owner that she knows how this ailment can be cured. That, of course, is the last we hear of her. But the girl's owner tells the general, and I guess his condition is uncomfortable enough that he asks his buddy, the king of Aram, for permission to go on a diplomatic mission to see this prophet in Israel. The Aramean king concedes, but just to keep up international protocol, he sends Naaman first to the king of Israel, not directly to the prophet Elisha. This junket is no small undertaking. We don't know if the silver and gold Naaman took along was just to cover the hotels, or if it was a gift to buy off or even overwhelmingly shame a neighboring king, someone he has recently defeated in battle. But at today's prices, the silver would be worth about $392,000 and the gold $7,990,000. I know. Just another day on the golf course for a head of state, but still. And of course, the king of Israel, when Naaman shows up, assumes the worst, rips his clothes, thinks nothing about the request for healing, and just knows that the king of Aram is tricking him and coming after him. Somehow, probably through another set of the little people in the room, word of this gets to Elisha, the person the slave girl suggested in the first place. Elisha tells the king to settle down and to send the man to him. Horses, chariots, and presumably a lot of gold and silver show up at Elisha's doorstep. The good prophet, as we were told, does not bother to come out, but sends instead, you guessed it, his servant, another ragtag person from the bottom of the heap. Naaman is less than impressed. Who does this idiot think he is, not even coming out to look at me and sending me off to his nasty river? Pack it up, boys, we're going home. But wait, yet another set of little people at the bottom. Are you starting to hear that? Little people at the bottom has the courage to say, hey, dude, how bad can it be to just try what the man said? Naaman sucks it up and gives it a shot, and he goes home with the skin of a newborn. Little people trying to eke out a living in the service of their masters. Grossly puffed up people believing they are really special because of their wealth and power. Grossly puffed up people posturing in every setting to prove their worthy status, ranting in rage when it is challenged. Okay, there's one really mature person, a healer, who has his ego in right relationship with creation and doesn't need to be paid for it. Sound familiar? Maybe except for the healer, right? Where can we find that one? The two books of Kings are part of a package of books labeled Histories in the Old Testament. These books try to make sense from a theological perspective of the rise and fall of the kingdoms of Israel and Judah. The complete set includes two books of Samuel, 1st and 2nd Kings, and in a separate tradition, the 1st and 2nd Chronicles. Chronicles is separate because it takes a brighter look at primarily the southern kingdom of Judah, with Jerusalem as its capital. It celebrates the Davidic line of kings with an eye toward presenting God's sustaining blessings and sustenance of this lineage. More of a, this is God's country kind of outlook. Samuel and Kings, however, seen as a whole, cover the entire journey of the Hebrew people through nationhood. This journey starts with the crowning of Saul and tracks roughly 500 years through Judah's last king, Jehoiachin, released from prison in Babylon in 560 BCE. In the big picture of nationhood, we might admit that this represents a pretty good run. But one of the things I like most about the biblical narrative is that it is more queasy than easy when it comes to kings and kingdoms. Some of you remember the dialogues between God and the prophet Samuel at the outset of this national journey. The people are pressuring Samuel for a king. Samuel is the last in a line of prophets called judges who loosely guided Israel with an eye toward justice and kindness in a context of freedom. But the people want a king like their neighbors have. Samuel reluctantly puts the plea in front of God. I don't know the particulars of how he did that. I'm guessing, however, that it wasn't terribly different from the communication that takes place today. A person who has sufficiently dealt with ego is able to engage a channel of deep connection with the spirit of creation. It's not so much talking as it is knowing. Anyway, God keeps saying, why? You are going to pay taxes. Your lands will be seized. You are going to give your daughters up as sexual playthings and your sons as soldiers. What can you possibly be thinking? Samuel keeps going back and relaying these things to the people, but they persist in their insistence upon some vicarious glory. We demand someone that in a very worldly manner represents the glory and power we want, but that we know we will never personally achieve. Ah, good old free will. God never insists. Samuel relents. Saul is crowned, and it's off to the races. Well, as Joni Mitchell says so astutely, and the seasons, they go round and round, and the painted ponies go up and down. But let's go back to the more queasy than easy thing. While the books of Samuel and Kings purport to be histories, their bigger mission was to judge and report on the quality of relationship between the various kings and their creator. This quality was measured not so much in cult ceremonial practices as it was in the justice and righteousness of the leaders. The writers see a very direct line between royal behavior, positive or negative, and the welfare of the nation. And their primary business as prophets is to say so. Their concept of God included judgment. And to be clear, I'm not saying I agree with that. But as the Old Testament progresses toward the defeat and exile of the Hebrew people, the voices of the prophets, like Amos, Hosea, and Jeremiah, become increasingly strident and forceful. They speak in graphic terms of a direct connection between the socio-political decline of the nation and the increasing corruption, oppression, and injustice on the part of the kings and other elites. So how did it go? This journey into swapping trust in God in favor of a chimeric glitz of kingdom. By the end of the reign of just the third king, the great and wise Solomon, the country had split irrevocably in two, the northern kingdom of Israel and the southern kingdom of Judah. During the following 400 years, the books of Kings identify only two kings between the two countries who received from the prophets what we might call the God housekeeping seal of approval, okay? Only two in 400 years. Fireworks, friends, invariably fizzle at the end, full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. A few centuries after the end of the Babylonian exile, the Roman occupation completes the demise of this venture into nationhood. Interestingly, it's against this backdrop of failed nation states that God in Jesus brings brilliant light and clarity to humanity. In the Luke passage that Linda read, Jesus sent 72 followers out across the land. Unlike Naaman, these itinerants carry no gold, no silver, they have no servants or weapons, they wear only the clothes on their back, they travel on foot, not by horse and chariot. Their journey is not to kings, nor to seek anything for themselves. And their single charge, beyond how they personally were to conduct themselves, is to heal the sick who are there and say to them, God's kingdom has come upon you. Sister, brother, be healed. Be healed and know that God's kingdom has come upon you. What an amazing, amazing thing to declare to a people that has lost all sense and hope of nationhood. In fact, the entire message of Jesus, as I understand it, captured imperfectly by human hands in 4 canonical gospels, is this. If you feel better when I tell you your sins are forgiven, I'll say that to you. Your sins are forgiven. But the real truth, sister, brother, rister, friend, the real truth is that God never accused you. And when you have finally forgiven yourself enough to turn your life to the service of others, you are healed. Right. The kingdom of heaven has come upon you. How does this speak to us in these times? Well, as Greta Thunberg says, the house is on fire. And it's not just some vague global thing. Our house of America is on fire. Right. Michael's brave song says, this funny business will bury you beneath the wheels of this machine. God, creator, spirit, mind, source, doesn't deliver an ounce of judgment. Whether by rape and degradation of the environment, whether by the tilt and slide off the knife-edge balance of nuclear insanity, whether by the closing of borders to masses lost in our insatiable materialism, whether by technology that increasingly apes and seeks to replace human touch and relationship, whether by narcissism, racism, or the twisted lies of ugly legislation, our government and all the great powers judge themselves. But Jesus, friends, modeling leadership in the kingdom of heaven, bends down and washes the feet of his friends. This is so much not a kingdom of this world, but he declares it to be a kingdom in this world, a place of real citizenship, family, and community. Where, oh, where is this kingdom? How do I get a visa? What coyote can get me across that border? I pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the little servant girl captured and enslaved by Naaman, who nevertheless points the way to his healing. I pledge allegiance to all his servants who said, open your eyes, man. Lay aside your toddler's pride and wash yourself in the muddy river. I pledge allegiance to the current and future residents of Alligator Alcatraz. I pledge allegiance to the thousands of our people sweating in Amazon warehouses. People who have just been glibly told that AI, it was a casual email that went to everyone about a week ago, AI is coming for their meager livelihood. It wasn't like, and we have a plan. It was just, that's what's going to happen. I pledge allegiance to the rural hospitals of New Mexico and every person who will die in the purposeful and evil sludge of paperwork that will keep them outside the door. And I pledge allegiance to this gathering. I pledge allegiance to this Taos United Community of Kindness. Look around you. Lay your burden down. Lay the burden of your stuff down. Taste and see that the kingdom of heaven has come upon you. Taste and see that it is good. Taste and be that good for this family of faith, for our community, for our nation, and our planet. And we'll take 2 minutes of silence.